Thank you very much.
That one always makes me cry.
It does. It makes me cry too, Eddie. We're going to do another song or two, and then get a special friend out here to say a few words. Jay, you want to sing it down here?
Sure.
This is Jay Hoffman. Most of you know that that our Aunt Beck passed away in March, and she was the last of the original In-Laws. So this will be our first year without her, and it's a little tough, but all these guys, they're going to help. And that's Jay Hoffman down there in the end.
Hey. Every time I played with Becky, she was always ready to get started, you know, like right now. And so I had to be careful when I named a song that we were going to play when I would visit with her. And sometimes she was like, I would say, okay, we're going to play Back in the Saddle again. And before I could say again, she would already start to play. And then the rest of it was catch up. So guys, give me a break, will you? Well, I'm back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend, where the longhorn cattle feed on the lonely chips and weed. Back in the saddle again. Well, I'm riding the reins once more, toting my old 44, where we sleep out every night, and the only law is right. Back in the saddle again. Well, whoopee-tie-I-oh, I'm rocking to and fro. Back in the saddle again. Whoopee-tie-I-oh, I'm on my way. Back in the saddle again. Well, I'm riding the range once more, toting my old 44, where we sleep out every night, and the only law is right. Back in the saddle again. Well, whoopee-tie-I-oh, I'm rocking to and fro. Back in the saddle again. Whoopee-tie-I, I'm on my way. Back in the saddle again. Back in the saddle again.
Awesome. Jay Hoffman.
Yeah. Thank you. In the key of C, by the way.
We'll do one more song. We're going to get, this is our another good friend Eddie Allen to sing one before we get Tom to come up and say a few words. So there's a special reason why all these people are in the new In-Laws, I guess was what we call it. This, Eddie and I go back to when we were growing up outside of La Crosse out in the dairy. And his father, Charlie Allen, and my dad, Virgil Savannah, worked together at Dairy Power, and they would play music together a lot on the weekends and get together and play euchre. And so Eddie has memories of my father. I don't know if they're fond memories, but they're memories.
They're very fond memories. I always loved it when Virgil and Joyce came over on Saturday night because that meant we weren't going to church on Sunday morning. Come listening to the radio station where the mighty hosts of heaven sing. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. If you want to hear the sounds of Zion come from the land of endless spring, get in touch with God.
Get in touch with God.
Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. And listen to the music music in the air. Turn your radio on, turn your radio on. Heaven's glory share. Turn your lights down low,
Turn your lights down low.
and listen to the Master's radio. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on, turn it on. Come and listen in to the Gloryland chorus. Listen to the glad Hosanna's roll. Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Get a little taste of love eternal. Get a little heaven in your soul. Get in touch with God.
Get in touch with God.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
And listen to the music in the air. Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Heaven's glory share. Turn your lights down low.
Turn your lights down low.
And listen to the Master's radio. Get in touch with God.
Get in touch with God.
Turn your radio on. Come and listen in to the fathers and the mothers and the many friends gone on before. Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
One eternal morning we will meet them over on the Hallelujah shore. Get in touch with God.
Get in touch with God.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
And listen to the music in the air. Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on.
Heaven's glory share. Turn your lights down low.
Turn your lights down low.
And listen to the Master's radio. Get in touch with God.
Get in touch with God.
Turn your radio on. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on. Yeah.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
Eddie's one of my favorite people in the world.
Someone who knows two guys.
I'm trying to get more friends. Okay, you know, we got a special guest, Mr. Tom Thibodeau, who's going to come up and say a few words. Tom is
All right.
a dear friend of ours.
Yeah.
And we are blessed to have him here. Thank you, Tom. You want to stand up or sit up? I'm going to stand up.
Good morning. And what a good morning it is. Even a better afternoon. You know, many places across the country, in many different areas, will say, come and join us, it's a family fest. And it's a family fest really in name only. This is a family fest. I'm not sure, but I think that the Bohemian roots of the name Sobranic literally means hospitality. Whenever the Sobranics gather, everyone is welcome. Look at this crowd. Here comes everybody, and we're all welcome. How can you judge in terms of what a family believes? By listening to the stories that they tell and the songs that they sing and the way in which they treat strangers. And every time you're with the Sobranic family, you feel like a welcome guest. Isn't it extraordinary that we have people in our culture that you can recognize them by maybe just one name? Oprah, Tiger, Aunt Beck. I got this from Donna, who wrote, Aunt Beck was a great storyteller. These are some of the family stories that if she were still here, she would pass along about her younger years. Pa was born into the Nick and Ida Slavehall Dorscheid family, being the oldest of 3 children. Harold, Pa, Herman, and Thela. Nick was active in local government, was on the board that brought electrification to the homes of people in Vernon County. Nick and Ida farmed on Salem Ridge. Nick was a taskmaster when it came to the kids, and Pa was milking 3 cows morning and night at the age of 8. At age 14, Aunt Beck went to live with Grandma and Grandpa, who had moved to Viroqua, where she had gotten a job at the tobacco warehouse. The tobacco had to be sorted in size into 5 different bins, and Beck, on that first day of work, would take the leaves from one bin to the other, trying to determine which was the appropriate bin. The 90-year-old boss scolded her for working too slow, so that night she was thinking of quitting. Grandpa said no one from the Dorshite family is going to quit, so she stayed on another 5 years. Work was a focus of Pa's young life, and so when he met Carol Chambers, he had an appreciation for the way that his family enjoyed life. Ma was the youngest born to George Maggie O'Leary Chambers. They lived and farmed on Otter Creek west of Lafarge with their other children, Mabel, Ernest, Bernard, and Pearlie. Their place had no electricity and so no radio to keep up on the news, but they took the daily paper, which they would read from front to back and then discuss what was happening in the world. Once or twice a year, Grandpa would hitch the horses up to the wagon, go to town, get drunk, and then race the horses home. Some things in the family have never changed. One morning after a night out, he came downstairs to the kitchen, and Grandma got him a cup of coffee. He took one sip and threw the coffee cup all the way out the open window. So Grandma took a sip of her coffee and threw the cup all the way out the window. Nothing more was said about that. After Ma and Pa were married, they lived their first years on Salem Ridge. When Beck was 3 years old, they moved into an old house on the farm on Weister Creek. Nick had a new house built just down the road after the original one burned, and Thela and her husband lived there. Nick favored his daughter, which was hard for Ma, and so she expressed it to her mother. Nick builds a new house for Thela, but we can't get a screen door. Grandma Chambers, in her wisdom, told Ma, "Oh, Carol, Thela can't live far away from her mother. You'll be in that house before long." And so Ma and Pa moved to the new house, raised 5 kids, Bill, Doris, Darlene, Joyce, and Beverly. At first, they farmed with horses, and the whole family pitched in to work on the farm. Bill and Doris were in the field plowing one day. Bill behind the plow and Doris riding the horse when Bill tossed a rock and the horse spooked and took off down the road, and Doris with it barely hanging on. Luckily, Den Waddell at the store at Potts Corner saw them coming, went out and grabbed the horse, saving Doris from an unknown fate. Ma and Pa were always such a fan of Dan after that, and they did respect him. Those first years in the farm were depression years, and times were tough. Half of the milk check went to Nick to pay for the farm. When Pa would go to visit his mom, if Nick wasn't there, she would send home with Pa as much food as she could. The kids were always excited to see what he brought, and that helped them get through the lean years. One way to make extra money was to sell mole's feet, which Pa would trap and take to the feed store for cash. Another was raising tobacco to pay the land tax. Most of us 20 grandkids got a good taste of working in tobacco, as many of our summers during our growing up years were spent on Ma and Pa's farm. Hope we all enjoy Beck's memories. And as I read that story, I'm reminded, isn't that the story of most of us here? What kind of work did our parents do? What kind of work did our grandparents do, our great-grandparents?
Hard.
Think of the 1930s when they all stood in line for a pound of flour and a pound of sugar, ration stamps. And then what happened? They gave all their food, plow to the fence for civil defense, and the food went to our soldiers who were fighting in World War II. Do we have the lives we have today without the service and sacrifice of people like Aunt Beck? People who believed in the common good. People who loved their family and did whatever they could to make their strangers feel welcome. Nobody went hungry when they came to Aunt Beck's home. Nobody left feeling alone because they had learned a song or heard a story and were wished well. We are the descendants of people that we should honor and be grateful for every days of our life. I say this often when I speak. There are 2 kinds of people: the Sopronics and people would like to be a Sobronic. Well, today, why don't we all be Sobronics and welcome each other, tell stories, sing songs, and enjoy the beauty of this day. Thank you, Aunt Beck.
Just waiting for Daniel real quick here.
Yeah, soprano can't quit.
I quit.
There it is.
Yeah, sorry.
Here's some words I forgot. Okay, so going down the line, one of my dearest friends in the world, Mr. John Smith, that I get to play music with for 35 years or so.
Yeah.
He is like a brother to me.
That's a long set.
And do a little gospel song, Johnny, you think?
It's no gospel song. I know it's Saturday morning, but it feels like Sunday morning to me. Well, the sun is slowly sinking. The day is almost come. Yet darkness falls around us, and we must journey on. The darkest hour is just before dawn. The narrow way leads on. Lay down your soul at Jesus' feet. The darkest hour is just before dawn. Like a shepherd out on the mountain, he's watching his sheep down below. And he's coming back to claim us. How will you be ready to go? The darkest hour is just before dawn. The narrow way leads home. Lay down your soul at Jesus' feet. The darkest hour is just before dawn. The darkest hour is just before dawn. The narrow way leads on. Lay down your soul at Jesus' feet. The darkest hour is just before dawn. The darkest hour is just before dawn. The narrow way leads on. Lay down your soul at Jesus' feet. The darkest hour is just
Good old gospel song. Thank you. Nice singing, guys. So I was thinking I went for a walk this morning, kind of clear my head of what to do today with a tribute to Beck, and realize it takes 5 of us to fill the shoes of Beck here this morning. So, and this is a real in-law down here. This is my nephew Jason Subanek. His father is Arnie, who is our oldest brother, who passed on a few years back. And Arnie loved to come